Hello everyone, let's begin our artificial intelligence code 417 and you will get full textbook solutions here. So our first chapter is communication skills. So before going into the chapter, we need to know what is communication. So communication is the process of sharing information between two or more people. Now you will wonder that how did the word communication derive? So let's look at it. The word communication has been derived from the Latin word communicare, which means to share. Now let us discuss about some important parts of communication. So the first one is transmitting. In this, the sender transmits the message. Second one is listening. In this, the receiver listens and understands the message. The third one is feedback. In this, the receiver convey understanding of message by sending feedback to the sender, and this completes the communication cycle. Now let us discuss about effective communication. When the messages are successfully delivered to the receiver and the receiver understands the message well, then it is called as effective communication. Now there must be some barriers to effective communication. Yes, let us discuss them. So the first barrier is physical barrier. The environmental and natural conditions act as barriers for effective communication. Second one is linguistic barriers. So, language barriers causes misunderstandings between people. The third one is interpersonal barriers. When sender's message is received differently by the receiver from how it was intended, this causes interpersonal barriers. The fourth one is organizational barriers. So it occurs when rules, procedures and regulations of an organization are not followed. So the fifth and the last barrier is cultural barrier. So people from different culture are unable to understand each other's culture. So all these barriers are barriers to effective communication. Now how to overcome these barriers? First one, use simple language. Don't form assumptions, as assumptions may also be wrong. Third one is try to communicate as much as possible. Fourth one, use visuals. And fifth one, take help of translators to overcome differences in language. Now let us discuss about characteristics of communication. Communication is a continuous process. It is a social activity. It is all about mutual understanding. It is a two-way communication and it leads to reaction or response. Now let's discuss about importance of communication skill. Communication not only include verbal communication but also include everything like postures, body language, all these which appears to the listener. The importance of communication skill is the ability to listen, speak and write effectively. Here we can see a picture of communication cycle. Here there is a sender and there is a receiver. The sender encodes the message. Encodes means converts simple language into coded language. and this message is sent to the receiver through a communication channel, and the receiver receives the message and he decodes the message. Decoding means converting the coded language into normal language. Then the receiver sends response and the sender receives feedback from the receiver, and this completes the communication cycle. Now let us discuss about feedback. Types of feedback. There are three types of feedback. First one is positive feedback. Second one is negative feedback, and third one is no feedback. Now let us discuss about characteristics of a good feedback. A good feedback should be specific. It should mention only the things which are necessary. It should be timely. It's not that the feedback is so late. It should be politely. We should use polite language while sending a feedback. And the feedback should offer continuous support. Now we will learn about 7 elements of communication, and they are also known as 7 C's. Clear, correct, complete, concrete, concise, consideration, and courteous are the 7 C's. Now, types of communication. First type of communication is verbal communication. In this, the message is delivered using words. It can be done orally or in writing. Now we will learn about types of verbal communication. So the first type is oral communication. In this, ideas are expressed using spoken verbs. Both sender and receiver should be present. Next is interpersonal communication. In this, one-to-one communication takes place. Third one is written communication. In this, messages are conveyed by writing. So letters, email are some example for written communication. Now, small group communication. In this, many people interact and converse with each other. Public communication. In this, one individual person addresses a huge gathering. For example, election campaign. Now we will discuss about advantages of verbal communication. So in verbal communication, we will get prompt feedback, that is fast feedback, and it is cost efficient, and it builds interpersonal relations, and exchange of ideas with quick responses possible here. Now it must have some disadvantages also. Yes, it do not have any legal validity. Sometimes message is not understood due to different accent. It can lead to miscommunication due to involvement of feelings, not suitable for exchange of lengthy messages. Now we will move to second type of communication, non-verbal communication. In this, messages are exchanged using all methods except words. So types of non-verbal communication. Gestures. You can see the image here. So gesture is this, using fingers. Then facial expression. So here you can see variety of facial expression. Next is body language, eye gaze, voice. So now let's discuss about advantages of non-verbal communication. It complements verbal communication and it helps handicapped people to communicate. So some disadvantages are, it is not easy to recognize non-verbal communication, and it can also result in misunderstandings and necessary explanation and long conversation are not possible. Now the last type of communication is visual communication. So any method which relies on pictures, illusions for sharing information is called as visual communication. For example, you can see the charts, graphs, pie charts, maps, etc. They are the example for visual communication. Now, advantages of visual communication. Communication becomes more meaningful. It becomes more interesting and complex data become simple or easy. Now, disadvantages of visual communication. Aids may be costly. Information becomes complex sometimes. Takes large time to communicate. Now, perspective in communication. So, perspective is the point of view through which an individual understands the events happening around him. So, every person interprets and conveys the message through filters of their motives, beliefs, and knowledge. Now, factors affecting perspective in communication. Visual perspective. It is the tendency by which people focus on parts of scenario which is most disposed to notice. Second one is language perspective. Sender and receiver must understand each other's language properly. Past experience shape our attitude towards situations, place or people. Prejudice based on logic, fact or experience. Feelings. People react to same situations in different ways when they are sad or happy. Now we will discuss about basic writing skills. So, in order to communicate properly, we must be able to write properly. So, for that, we must learn basic writing skills. So, we will start from capitalization. So, all the sentences should begin with capital letters. So, capitalize the first letter in the titles, capitalize the letter I when it is used as a word, and capitalize the first letter in the names of people, places, days and months. Next is punctuation. Certain sets of marks such as full stop, comma, question mark, exclamation mark and apostrophe are used in communication. So you should use this punctuation properly. Next is phrase. So phrases are the group of words which do not make any sense. It only gives us hint about the message. And it doesn't have an object and a subject. Next is types of phrases. We have noun phrase, verb phrase, adjective phrase, adverbial phrase and prepositional phrase. Now sentence. Sentences are the group of words which makes complete sense. So types of sentences: assertive sentence, interrogative sentence, imperative sentence and exclamatory sentence. Now parts of speech. We have 8 parts of speech: noun, adjective, verb, conjunction, preposition, article, interjection and adverb. Next is a part of a paragraph. So a paragraph starts with a topic, then we should give introduction, then explanation and finally conclusion and proofreading. Now we have completed our chapter communication skills. Now we will move on to brainboard. So first, multiple choice questions. First question, which one of the following is an element of communication? Option A, channel, B, receiver, C, sender, D, all of the above. The answer is all of the above. Our second question, in verbal communication, message is delivered using. The answer is both A and B, that is spoken or written message that uses words of any language. Third question, which of the following is not an example of written communication? The answer is body language. Fourth question, senders can send their messages by using which of the following forms of communication? The answer is gestures. It is a visual communication method. Next, fifth question, which of the following is an example of oral communication? Answer is phone call. So now we'll move on to fill in the blanks. So the letter highlighted in green is the letter to be filled in the blank. So the first question is, dash is the process of sharing information between two or more people. The answer is communication. Question number 2. For communication to take place, there must be a sender and a dash. The answer is receiver. Perspective is the point of view of an individual through which one understands every communication and the events happening around us. So the answer here is perspective. So fourth question, dash are the group of words which do not make any sense. We recently studied it. The answer is phrase. So dash is a group of words that make complete sense. The answer is sentence. Now let us move on to answer the following. The first question is, what are the various characteristics of communication? So answer is continuous process, mutual understanding, social activity, two-way communication, and leads to reaction or response. Define effective communication. So when the messages are successfully delivered to the receiver and the receiver understands the message well, then it is called as effective communication. Third question, what do you understand by barriers to effective communication? You just need to mention all the barriers to effective communication. They are physical barriers, linguistic barriers, interpersonal barriers, organizational barriers, and cultural barriers. Fourth question, what is non-verbal communication? So non-verbal communication is a type of communication in which information is exchanged using all the methods except words. Fifth question is, what is visual communication? So answer is any methods which relies on pictures, illusions, or graphs for sharing information as visual communication. So now let's move on to worksheet. Fill in the blanks. The nature, dash, and contents of the communication keep changing. The answer is situation. Second one, communication is a process of sharing, dash. Answer is message. For communication to take place, for communication and to understand it, there must be an dash between sender and receiver. The answer is understanding. Communication involves both sender and receiver. For a successful communication, there is a need for quick and right response from the receiver. Now let's move on to true or false. First question, physical barrier is the environmental and natural condition that act as a barrier communication in sending message from sender to receiver. The statement is true. Second one, Subject is a word or group of words that do not convey the name of things or person about whom we are speaking. It is a false statement. Predicate is a part of sentence which contains verb. So the statement is true. Fourth one, an article is a word used after a noun. The statement is false. Fifth one, paragraph is a number of related sentences which focus on an idea. The statement is true. Now let's move on to answer the following. So what is a phrase? So phrases are the group of words which do not make any sense. What do you mean by sentence? Sentences are the group of words which make complete sense. So describe types of sentences with example. You can go through it deeply. Now quiz card. First question, which of the following is not a factor affecting perspective in communication? The answer is attitude. Second question, perspective is an individual's point of view. Third question, which of the following is not the 7 C's of elements of communication? All of you try to answer this. The answer is concentrate. So dash article is used before words starting with vowels. Very easy. And fifth question, which of the following is not a type of speech? Answer is pronoun. Sixth question, the message may be misinterpreted because of barriers. Seventh question, which of the following is a negative attitude, especially when it is related to hatred for some people? The answer is prejudices. Eighth one, communication is a non-stop process. Ninth question, who is the person who notices and decodes and attaches some meaning to a message? The answer is receiver. 10th and the last question, the response to a sender's message is called feedback. So thank you. Keep learning, keep growing. I hope that you liked my video. Thank you for watching.